What is going on, everybody? Quancredible here to bring you the review for Black Clover Chapter 271. Now, before I get into the chapter review, I just want to talk about just this thing has bothered me. I feel like I bring it up a decent bit, but it's like just the fact that we get really short chapters just bothers me so much. And usually we get like the standard Tabata 15, as I like to think of it, but this week we only got 13. I'm just like, come on, man. Like, can we get some pages? And again, I'm sure I've said this a bunch of times. I get it that it's hard, and that I couldn't be a mangaka, and being a mangaka definitely comes with challenges. Making new chapters and drawing and storyboarding every week. But at the same time, it's like come on, man. However, this week, kind of a bit of an excuse, or he kind of may be able to get a pass, and I don't know how long this has been bothering him. For those of you who don't know, we get author comments every week, along with the chapter. They just don't post it on the websites or on fan translations. You kind of just have to see it on your own. And this week, I'll just read it exactly as is, and I'll put it on the screen so you guys can see it as well. But he says, I caught a cold from my daughter. The damage was much higher on me. I need to raise my immunity powers. So basically from there we can see that Tabata caught a cold. So this could have been bothering him for a bit, could possibly be why we have a shorter than usual short chapter this week, but still kind of sucks nonetheless. As well as we're going to be on break next week, so like a 13 pager into a break next week is just like, it makes it drag. And then to top it off, not a lot happened in this chapter when you think about it. It's like at first glance the chapter seems hype, but then you read it a second time and you're like, nothing really happened at all. And I get it, it's like a fight chapter, so not a lot is supposed to happen. But at the same time, this is coming off of, Asta defeating Libe or whatever, and where we're going after that. And in the beginning of the chapter, we get to see Notch's transformation, his Devil Union, Canis mode, referencing the whole dog theme of Gimadello and that stuff. So basically from there, he wants Asta to, do the same thing or draw out more of his own devil's power, but Libby and Asta do not know how to do that, and based on the nature of the transformation, Asta cannot force him to do it. We also get a little tidbit of information here that's kind of interesting. I've seen a little bit of people talk about it, but the fact that Libby does not know how to use his own powers, which makes a lot of sense. He even brings it up as, this is why I lost to someone like you, is what he said to Asta. And it's really funny because we got to see his backstory, and then we know he was trapped in the book. So it's like, it's not like he ever really fought anybody, especially with those powers, with the anti-magic powers. So it makes sense that he literally just wouldn't know how to use his own abilities, which is kind of funny. So then we get to see Notch use his abilities through Gimadello, and with this he's able to make multiple shadow clones, as I like to think of them, or shadow copies, whatever you want to call them, doesn't really matter. They're like little shadow doppelgangers. And he uses those to fight Asta, trying to put him in that whole scenario where he learns something, put him in that really stressful spot. And if I'm assuming these little clones or doppelgangers are pretty strong, I guess. They seem to be, slightly overpowering Asta, which is no small feat. So they have to be somewhat strong. They're not just complete fodder. Asta also even notes that they have the exact same key as Notch, which would explain why he, just can't find Notch out of the real ones. As for the reasoning of this, because when he said that, I thought about it, and I was like, why do they have the same key as Notch? Is it because it's in shadows, or something along those lines? And again, I'm not trying to nitpick. It's just things that I notice when I'm reading it. When I read it the first time, when I read it the second or third time, it's just things that I notice. I'm really not trying to nitpick. It's just, they just stand out to me. And then from there, we get, Asta's, since he's having a hard time, he goes for Yami's katana. It seems like Yami's katana is almost like a safe thing for him. It makes him feel safe. It makes him feel comfortable, seeing as how much the sword meant to Yami, and this is literally his only connection to Yami right now. So it makes sense that this would be his go-to weapon or thing, as opposed to some of the other swords that he spent more time with. But he goes for this sword, and he says, right here, right now, I'm going to surpass my limits, which gets a little reaction out of Notch. So since Asta can sense his ki, he senses, a little disturbance in Notch, and he, does a demon slash towards him. Which, is nothing crazy. We already knew he could do black slash with his demon dweller, as we already seen at the beginning of the post time skip. So seeing that he can do it with Yami's katana is not really like super huge shock or anything. It is kind of cool to see that he can do it. We also get a name for the sword. It's the Demon Slasher Katana, which is cool. In the unofficials they called it the Demon Decapitator Katana, which I kind of liked a little bit more, just because it had like the whole double D thing. I kind of like the whole like double D thing for the swords, even though they don't really follow it themselves. I enjoyed the like Demon Dweller, and when it used to be called the Demon Destroyer, I liked it when it was kind of like that until they start changing it, like Demon Annihilator and all that. But enough of that. Yeah, so it's called the Demon Slasher Katana. So I'm assuming this will be the sharp sword, as like I think a lot of people were saying, which just makes it weird. A couple of chapters ago, when he just straight grabbed the blade when he was fighting against Libe. It makes it weird because I feel like the sword is like supposed to be sharp. So I mean, actually, even speaking on that, if he would have grabbed it and in that same panel we seen like blood going down from his hands, I'd have been cool with that. I'd have been so fine with that because at least it would have referenced it being sharp. So it being the slasher and doll is just weird. It is just weird. But anyway, from there, we can see that, Asta reaffirms he's going to surpass his limits again, and then Notch at the very end of the chapter says that he really hates that phrase, referencing, back to how he hates Yami, and it seems like he really hates everything about Yami. His phrases, his mannerisms, his personality, just literally everything about this man he seems to hate. So it makes you really, like, wonder what Yami could have done to him, but we already were wondering that. And believe it or not, that is actually just the entire chapter. It's really short. Like, it was just a really, really short 13 pages, and like there are things that we can kind of guess or assume from here. It's weird because I know a lot of people, myself included, thought we would go somewhere else after this, after last chapter. Like at the beginning of their training, a lot of us really didn't think that we were going to get to see what was happening. So based off what's going on, it would make sense for us to just next chapter just continue on with the training, and then in the next one in like 272, Asta learns something, like, or he picks up on something, and that would be that chapter. Which isn't bad. That's not bad. I mean, it's still cool to see, us see Asta train, but I feel like this is like a perfect opportunity for us to also see what other people are doing, such as Noel and the Heart Kingdom Squad and all of them, even the other captains. Just kind of get like a check on what everyone else is doing. My only mild concern is for how this is kind of shaping up is I feel like if we spend a lot of time with Asta, it will like lessen our time with everyone else. And I get it, Asta is the main character, so of course the bulk of our time is going to be consumed with him. But at the same time, the supporting characters, they help support the story. That's kind of what their thing is. So like, we already see a ton of Asta, so like we haven't seen a ton of everyone else. So this is really what I know I myself really would like to see is like other people. So I really fear that for when we get other people's chapters that they might just combine them all. Like I feel like our Noel chapter might get combined with our chapter in 13 pages, and I don't want that. So that's why I'm kind of concerned. All in all, the chapter really wasn't that bad, but it wasn't like amazing either. It was just like it's like a 6, 5.5, a 6. It's just a really basic chapter. Like nothing really happened. I mean, yeah, the reveal of Notch's Devil Union is kind of cool, but we got that at the end of last chapter into this chapter, so it's not like it was all this chapter. And I really liked what Josuke or J Cloud said about it in the podcast. I can't remember which one of them said it, but one of them said it would have been cooler just to like if we would have got his form revealed in a fight instead of in a training. Cause like I mean training is relatively low stakes. I mean obviously there are stakes here, like they're fighting so that the world doesn't get taken over. But like in this one-on-one confrontation between Notch and Asta, there's not really a lot of stakes. So him showing us a form, it isn't like oh my gosh this is crazy. Versus if he was like if Notch was fighting against Dante with Asta and they're losing, and then Notch is like, okay, I got to use this new power, and then he just transforms. That would be hype. That would have been so hype. But doing it in a training match kind of takes it away from that. I mean, obviously, as we've seen in this chapter, Notch does have 3 other devils that he could union with. So I mean, we may still get that, but we definitely won't get it for this one. Is what I'm getting at here. Yeah, that's really all I got to say about this chapter. Sorry for the shorter video. I mean, a shorter chapter makes a shorter video, at least for me, at least. Let me know how you guys feel about the chapter down below. If you guys enjoyed it, if you guys disliked it. I also want to know how you guys are feeling about this training right now. Like, do you think we should be focused on Asta right now, or would you guys like to see someone else or go to a different character? Just very curious to see how you guys are feeling about that. I don't really have much else for you guys, so make sure you guys like the videos or sub to the channel. I really do appreciate all the support. Once the channel grows as big as it possibly can, I need you guys' help to do that. Make sure you guys all enjoy the rest of your day, and I will catch you guys in my next video.